Hello everyone and welcome to Essentially Plans YouTube channel. I am Essence Neely, and if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Today we will be talking about how to get 1 month ahead and to stop living paycheck to paycheck. So stay tuned. If you find yourself living paycheck to paycheck, or if you feel as though the beginning half of the month is typically more financially heavy than the rest, and that leaves you scraping until your next paycheck to get by, then that probably means that you pay your bills as they come along and you don't really have a paycheck budget. So the first step that you are going to have to do in order to get a month ahead is to first create a budget. Yes, I said it in my last video and I'm going to keep on saying it. There's no way that you're going to be able to get a month ahead if you don't know what your expenses are in that month. So it's very important to write down all your monthly expenses and to get that number so that you are aware of what you're saving for. So first you need to determine if you are going to save only your necessary fixed expenses like rent, utilities, anything of that nature, or if you're going to include all of your monthly expenses, so your cell phone bill, internet, cable, groceries, if you are going to save for all of your monthly expenses or just your fixed expenses. The budget that I like to use is paycheck budgeting as well as a zero-based budget. In my budget essentially planner, there are 4 paycheck spreads per month, and this allows you to really lay out where your money is going, so that way you're allowed to say, this is how much I'm allocating for this paycheck, this is how much I'm allocating to this paycheck, and you're not feeling as financially heavy in the beginning of the month. So now that you completed the first step of creating your budget and you know the amount of money you need to save for your month ahead fund, it is now time to actually do the steps to save for your fund. One of the ways that you can begin getting ahead in your monthly bills is by splitting up your heavy expenses. So for instance, if your rent is $1,400 a month, you can start by putting $700 aside from one paycheck and $700 aside from your next paycheck, and then paying your rent with that collective money. That way you're not getting that financial burden of a $1,400 bill coming out of your paycheck, and then you're only left with a few $100s and you feel as though you're struggling throughout. You can have a more balanced budget, which will lead you to more financial freedom and leeway, and you're able to calculate for your variable expenses, your sinking funds, anything of that nature. Another way that you can go about saving for your month ahead fund is by creating a buffer or a cushion within your monthly budget. So just as you budget for rent and utilities, you're going to set up a certain amount or a certain percent to your buffer or to your month ahead account. So if you want to save 5% from each check or 10% from each check to go straight towards your month ahead fund and start building that up gradually, that is one way that you can do that. Another way that you can start building up your 1 month ahead fund is by using tax refunds. It is tax season. A lot of people have begun to submit their taxes. You can use your tax refunds, your stimulus checks, any bonuses or windfalls that you might get, any extra money that you get, you can throw that to your 1 month ahead fund. Along with using any extra payments, you can actually start selling anything laying around the house that you don't use anymore or don't really need anymore. Another thing that you can do is cut back a little bit on one of your spending categories. So if you typically budget $150 for groceries, you could cut back to $125 and send that $25 to help build up your month ahead fund. The final way that I'm going to talk about is by using your extra paycheck. And I'm going to say extra paycheck. So I talked about this a little bit in my paycheck budget, and I wanted to get into this a little bit more. Is your extra paycheck actually extra money? So if you are bi-weekly or weekly, then you typically receive 2 or 3 extra paychecks per year. Most months have about 4 weeks in them. Some of them where you get an extra paycheck, they have 5. So that extra paycheck can seem as though it's just free money. But I want to say, before you splurge on that money or send it directly to savings, there's something you need to remember. If you take a look at your budget and you are paid bi-weekly, for the month of April, you may have gotten paid on the 2nd and the 16th, and then you'll get paid again on the 30th. So that means that that 30th may seem like an extra check. But what you have to remember is that you don't get paid again until about May 14th, somewhere around there. So that means that any expenses within the first half of May, you have no paycheck coming in. So before you send that money to savings or before you straightly splurge on that, make sure that you have enough money to cover your expenses that first half of May. I wouldn't quite say that your extra paycheck is really extra, that you can use it on whatever you want, because you may have put yourself in that same predicament that you were just in by feeling as though you're scraping by and living paycheck to paycheck if you don't properly budget for that third paycheck. So be sure that you're taking a glance ahead at the next month and preparing yourself so that you're not stuck in a bad situation or a struggling situation where you may have to borrow money or dip into your savings account. So those were some quick tips on how to get a month ahead and stop living paycheck by paycheck and to start having a fund specifically for a month ahead. So thank you for watching. Those were some of my tips for how to get 1 month ahead and how to start building your 1 month ahead fund. Stay tuned to the next video. Thanks. Bye.